Human cruelty is never to be underestimated, always to be believed in. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Himvar. Today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Brian Lee Durfee's The Forgetting Moon. The Forgetting Moon is a thick, modern epic fantasy with classic tropes. It is Brian Lee Durfee's debut novel, a person otherwise known for his wildlife and fantasy art. The Forgetting Moon is book 1 in the 5 Warrior Angels series, which was originally planned to be a 5-book series, but now is going to be a trilogy. The Blackest Heart is already out, and the 3rd book, The Lonesome Crown, comes out next year. I will say that I enjoyed this book tremendously. I give it 4 stars on Goodreads, and let's get into why. The prologue tells us a few things. There are epigraphs, excerpts from in-world works, such as the Book of the Betrayer, which is the first with The Way and Truth of Lajon, the chivalric illuminations of Rigel, the Moon Scrolls of Mia being the most common, and a little bit from the Angel Stone Codex as well. The events are part of a larger picture that hadn't just been set in motion, but have been in progress for a really long time. The little boy is saved by someone named Shawcroft. This boy is a young man named Niall who is orphaned with no kin besides a twin sister he has never met. Niall, or Niall, so I might say both of them here, is an orphan 17-year-old described as unnatural who wants to belong and be an artist of some sort. At least this is when we meet him in the first chapter. We also have Galt Ulbrich, a knight archaic, one of the personal guard to the Angel Prince of Sorsevere, Tala Bronachel, who is a 16-year-old princess of Golkana with a penchant for a roguish adventure, and then John Dredlin, Tala's older sister, who is outspoken and longs to better herself so she can do good for her people. These are our main characters, at least for this first book, and I found a theme in the story and something that they all have a part of, even when it takes different forms, and something I feel like even that I get from watching Brian Lee Durfee's videos on YouTube is there's a strong theme of belonging, and it's very interesting how each character takes this in different ways and runs with it. Along with those characters, we do get a few chapters from a couple other characters that are more support roles. I'd also like to point out that you'll probably get this as you listen further, but there are a lot of tropes in this series as Durfee is exceptionally well read for the fantasy genre, and he utilizes these tropes expertly, and I believe that they honestly all work pretty well here. Niall's guardian, Shawcroft, in trope fashion, does not reveal all he knows of his ward's past and the wider world. I believe this works well here, as the story is interesting and new, but nice and familiar in a way. Shawcroft also trains Niall in a Karate Kid type of fashion, and you'll have to read to figure out exactly what I mean there. Niall also sort of personifies a reluctant leader trope. Religion is also big. Mostly it is a sort of like Christianity, but with a Germanic and Celtic pagan flair. The god Lajon carries a silver battle axe called the Forgetting Moon, while other heavenly beings wield similar items: the broadsword Afflicted Fire, the crossbow Blackest Heart, the war helm the Lonesome Crown, and the shield Ethic Shroud. These legendary items were actually to be the name of each individual 5 books before the series was shrunk down to 3. Technically speaking, it seems we have 3 religions or sects that follow supposed teachings of one family of deified beings, each religion contradicting the other, and naturally they all dislike each other. Those who follow Mia, those who follow Rigel, and those who follow Lajon and the Warrior Angels. Or, well, technically they all follow Lajon. It's confusing. I felt some similarities to Mormonism, Catholicism, and Islam present in this, though. Durfee does a great job of immersion through language as well. For example, even though the Valet seem like elves to the reader, they dislike the Fae description. And also the word dragon is considered a very nasty curse. Lots of religion too, such as fiery absolution, which seems to be the Inquisition and Armageddon mixed into one. The writing itself is very straightforward. It doesn't dilly-dally. It's extremely easy to read since nothing is really there to bog it down. I will say that Durfee used the words boyfriend and girlfriend did break me from some immersion, but he does use it only once or twice if I remember. I did appreciate just how swiftly tones change. Don't blink because crazy stuff happens fast sometimes. We have our typical humans, but also merfolk, the Valet, who are essentially elves as I mentioned before, dwarves as you'd guess, and ogles who are like orcs but reminded me some of vampires, and mostly of ogres from Norath, the setting of the game EverQuest. Characters and plot and setting all stand on equal footing in my mind. No characters are quite exceptional to start, but they do get there. Of extra characters, Roguemore the dwarf was one of my favorites, though it's interesting that it's hard to tell who to trust with the characters that we don't get point of view chapters from. I should mention that I believe this book is actually technically grimdark, or at least it has been described as heavy metal fantasy. There is some heartbreaking stuff in here. With all the darkness present in the book though, good and heartfelt things do contrast brilliantly. The ending gave me a few mixed feelings. A few threads were concluded, and some of them were not very surprising because you could see it coming or just guess based off other fantasy works since this is full of tropes. Other things, on the other hand, were very surprising, and I had a feeling things were just getting started, which made me excited just to pick up The Blackest Heart. While some may find the start a little slow, like Williams in the Dragonbone Chair, Durfee had me immersed from the beginning, and I always love exploring the world and getting more comfortable and familiar while learning new and exciting things. This doesn't disappoint, as the story is full of goodies. This book was refreshing after not reading a modern epic fantasy in so long. Reminded me the most of Kate Elliott's King's Dragon, though some of A Song of Ice and Fire as well, though this was way quicker on the plot side of things. I'm going to be showing my reading taste here for a second, but I haven't read any John Gwynne, Joe Abercrombie, or Stephen Erickson, so I can't compare it to those authors. It is definitely not Sanderson-esque in magic, which is nice, though don't get me wrong, I love Sanderson. The easiest comparison between the two are the way they work religion into their fantasy. Among works of classic fantasy, I believe Durfee has also cited Moby Dick and Shogun, among other works, as inspiration. Though as a reminder, this is technically grimdark. It is often very brutal, unfair, and unjust, and bloody. There's torture and rape, though I'm pretty weak when it comes to disturbing things of that sort, and I never felt overly disturbed. Just grossed out, which is how you're supposed to feel, I think. Durfee has even said that it is not PG-13, but an R-rated book. But overall, I really did enjoy this. I really felt that Durfee himself bleeds everywhere into this work, which is typical, but knowing the little I do about him from watching his YouTube videos is really nice because in a way I felt I got to know the author better too. Anyways, these are my thoughts. I finished this shortly before I got sick, so I'm sorry I didn't get the review up sooner. I did really enjoy it. I have yet to get to The Blackest Heart. I actually do not even have a copy yet, but I am looking forward to continuing this series, and I want to have The Blackest Heart done at least when The Lonesome Crown comes out next year. And before I sign off, I have one question for Durfee if he is watching this, or if anyone else noticed one line in the book that really threw me off, and it just made me think, are Ogles aliens? Anyways, this has been Liam with Liam's Lyceum. Let me know what you think of the review. I did try a similar format to what I've been doing, but more laid back in some aspects. So just let me know what you think, and I will catch you next time.